This video will be an example demonstrating how to write our own custom static methods in Java. So we're going to solve this first example. Write a Java program to prompt their user if they want to solve a rectangle area, triangle area, or circle area problem. Use a switch statement to call a static method for each. Implement a static method for each type of math problem that accepts no parameters and has no return value. So our method will prompt for the input information we need, do the math, and then print out a result. So there won't actually be a return value on this static method in this example. We're going to use JDoodle to do this. So we start our Java example. I'm going to get rid of the boilerplate here. Okay, so I'm going to need a scanner. So I'm going to go ahead and import java.util.scanner. Okay. So now the first thing I need is I need a menu. Do you want to, I'm going to give them an option. Do you want rectangle, triangle, or circle? Okay, so let's define our scanner. Okay, and then we're going to do a little menu option here. So we'll say A for rectangle solver. Well, I'm just going to cut and paste these. B and C. B will be the triangle solver. C will be the circle solver. And then lastly, we'll actually we'll give them a message to say system.out.println. Enter your choice. Then we'll take their input, string input equals scanner.next line. And in this case, I don't care if it's lowercase or uppercase, so I'm just going to add right here to uppercase. So that whatever they type in is going to be converted to uppercase right as they type it in. Okay. All right. So now we've put up a menu. Let's fix the spelling mistake there. We put up the menu and we've let them enter their answer. So let's go ahead and run that and make sure we didn't make any mistakes. I did make a mistake. I misspelled Java here, so that's giving me a whole bunch of errors. So let's fix that. So on line 1, I misspelled Java. So it needs to be java.util.scanner. So let's fix that right here. Java.util.scanner. Okay, I made some more mistakes. System.out.println. I misspelled println on line 6. myclass.java.6 Okay. Because I cut and paste, I misspelled it in all the places. Let's see if we can run that. Okay, so I've fixed all my mistakes. So now I should be able to enter A, B, C, or D. And in this case, we haven't actually implemented that, so the program's going to end. Okay, so now let's go ahead and we'll need a switch statement for A, B, or C. So let's go ahead and say switch, input, open the block, case A. We're gonna do rectangle solver, and then we're gonna break. Okay, rectangle solver, spell it right. So this is me calling a static method. Okay, the method's going to be named rectangle solver, and it won't have any arguments. Okay, so this is a method call. Now I haven't actually implemented this method yet. So let's go ahead and do that now. So we're going to come back in. We're going to put a case for B and C in a default case. But let's do A first, and then we'll keep going. So I need to add a new method to my Java program. Now, public static void main, this is a method. Okay, so when I add a new method, I want to make sure that I add it inside the class, but not inside the main method. Okay, and I want my main method, my preference is for my main method to be the first method in the program. And then all of the other methods will be following main, and they'll be in alphabetical order. Okay, so when I say outside main, I need to make sure that I'm outside the block for main. So the block's defined by the curly braces. So we can see that this is the main. This is the beginning of the main block. This is the end of the main block. Okay. So we want to make sure that we put it outside the main block, but inside the class. See, this is the beginning of the class. This is the end of the class. Okay. So let's put in some blank spaces there outside the main method, but still inside my class. Public, static. There's no return type on this. So we're going to have a return type of void. It's going to be called rectangle solver. And it has no parameters. It has a block. Okay. So that's the definition. So if I run this now, it should execute. Okay, if I didn't make any syntax errors, okay, so I've made no syntax mistakes. So my program is compiling. It still doesn't do anything, okay, because I haven't coded that part yet. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to prompt the user to enter more data, okay, and then we'll do the solver. Now we're going to need a scanner in this method because we've defined the scanner inside our main method. Okay, then we have to, the scanner is scoped only to the main method. So if we try to use it in the rectangle solver, it's not going to work. Let me show you what I mean. So let's do an example here. So the prompt is, we're going to need enter length of side 1. And if we do scanner.nextLine, we do string input, we'll scanner.nextLine, and then we'll do int side 1 equals integer.parseInt. Okay, this is what we want to do, but the scanner is not defined here. Okay, because we defined scanner inside the main method. Scanner is not defined inside the rectangle solver. So if we run this, we're going to get a syntax error that says that SC is not defined here in line 20. Okay, Java line 20 cannot find symbol SC. So that's because we've defined that local to this main method, and we need it here. So there's two approaches that you can use to do this. One, we can define the scanner and we can pass it as a parameter. Okay, so I could come in here on rectangle solver and I could pass scanner as a parameter into that method. I could also move the definition so that instead of defining it inside main, I could define it as a class level variable. Okay, and do that. But let's pass it as a parameter. So we're just gonna add SC here as an argument to the rectangle solver, and then in our definition, we're gonna say scanner SC. So now I've defined an argument for the call, and I've defined a parameter to receive that. So now when I run this, it should compile. And if I press A, then I should get the prompt for side 1. Okay. So that's done. So now we can go ahead and finish. I'm just going to cut and paste this because it's going to be the exact same code for side 2. Don't need to define string again. Side 2, and then I can say int area equals side 1 times side 2. That's the code for area of a rectangle, and then I can print that out. System.out.println the area of the rectangle is area. Okay. In this case, I'm using println. I don't need a printf statement here because it's an integer. It's going to be nicely formatted, so I don't need to do any extra work to format that. Okay, let's see if that works. A inner length of side 1, 13. Inner length of side 2, 12. The area is 156. Okay. All right, let's do the triangle. Okay, so we're going to add a second case. case B. And let's go ahead and call that triangle solver, and we're going to pass the scanner. Break that. Let's go ahead and do case C while we're at it. We'll just comment that out. We won't put that in yet because we haven't defined that method. We'll do a break. And then let's go ahead and do the default that says invalid response. Okay. And we break that. Sticks our indentation there. Okay. And then that's the end of the program. Okay. So let's go ahead and we try to compile this. We're going to get an error because we're calling this triangle solver method, but we haven't defined it yet. Okay. But that's the only error we got. So hopefully that's the only error we made. So let's go ahead and do another one. So I want to do a triangle solver. T comes after R, so I'm going to put it, I would like my methods to be in alphabetical order. So I'm going to come in here and define another one. Public, static, void, triangle solver. It's all this element. It takes one parameter as a scanner. Okay. And then it's basically the same as the rectangle solver. So I'm just going to cut and paste this just for quickness. And then just make my modifications here. So instead of the length of side 1 for triangle, it's base times height divided by 2. So enter the length of the base, enter the height. We'll take both of those as integers, and then the area is actually going to be a double. So we're going to want to say double area equals base times height. Oops. So I changed my prompt here, enter the length of the base. So I want to change my variable to be base. Change this variable to be height instead of side 1 and side 2. HEIGHT. Base times height divided by 2, the area of the triangle is. So now in this case, I am going to have a double. And so I'm going to want to format this with some decimal points. So I'm going to come back in and change this to be a printf statement. The area of the triangle is, and then I'm going to do a formatting code here, percent, comma, 0.1f. So I'll have a decimal precision with one decimal place and 1,000 separator if the number is big enough. And then I'm going to put in a new line. Okay. And then the parameter there will be area. Okay. Let's run that and see if it works. Made a mistake here on line 45. I left out the semicolon. Semicolon on line 45. I want the triangle solver. Enter the length of the base. Let's call it 17. The height is going to be 41. Okay. 348.0. Okay. Because we can do that math. 17 times 41 divided by 2. That should actually be 348.5. Okay. So what's happening, because I got 348.0 here, but if we do the math on our calculator, that should be 348.5. So what's happening is that all of my values here in line 45 on my area calculation, they're all integers. And so I'm getting a rounding error here. So I need to change this literal 2 to be a decimal by putting 2.0 on it. That will make that a double value. And then if I do that, I should get the right answer. I'm telling the Java that I want a double value there. 17, 41. 348.5. Okay. All right. Good. Okay, let's finish this out by putting in the circle solver. So coming here on case C, we say circle solver with the scanner as the argument. C comes before R, so I'm going to put that here. This new method, the public static void circle solver. Takes one parameter as a scanner. Okay, make sure I get my blocks and my curly braces all set. Got to be really careful as we're getting into using switch statements and if statements and for loops soon, and our own methods and return values. We're going to have a lot of code blocks and a lot of curly braces opening and closing. Really important that you keep them straight. So always, as soon as you are typing code, as soon as you open a curly brace, you always want to make sure the closing curly brace is in, that is lined up. You got to be really careful keeping that stuff together, because if you get your blocks out of line, then it gets uncontrollable fast, and just creates a mess. So here we are for the circle solver. The circle solver only requires one value, which is the radius of the circle. So we can just say system.out.println, enter the radius of the circle. Scanner. We'll go ahead and take we'll make it a double value, so we can say that it will be a double. So string input equals scanner dot next line. Double radius equals double dot parse double input. And then the area is calculated as area equals pi times the radius squared. Okay. So what we can do, pi is actually defined in the math library for Java. So we can say math.pi times math.pow radius comma 2. Okay. So this is the same as what this equates to is radius times 3.14. Okay. So that's what this formula looks like. I misspelled radius there. Okay. Okay. So let's see if that's right. So let's go ahead and then we print out the answer. So we'll do a printf here as well, because we're going to have a bunch of decimal precision. Printf, the area of the circle is misspelled B. Then we're going to use the same format function that we did for the triangle. Percent comma 0.1f. So we'll have a decimal value with one decimal place, 1,000 separators if it applies, and then we'll put a new line. And then the replacement value will be area, and that should do it. Let's run it and see if it works. Okay. We got some errors here, so let's solve that. So I used, I didn't define the variable area. I also misspelled math here, so on this line. So that's what all my mistakes are. So area is going to be a double value. And then this should be math.pow, not match.pow. Okay, let's run that. Circle solver. We can put a decimal value in here. So let's put 23.5. 1,734.9. Okay, so we can do that. We can double check that on our calculator just to make sure we got the math right. 23.5 times 23.5 times pi divided by 2. Okay. Oh, it's not divided by 2. It's just pi r squared. So it's pi times times the radius squared, which comes out to 1734. So we verified that that math is correct, and our program is complete. So this was an example of using static methods with we're sending a scanner, so we don't have any data as parameters, but we are sending the scanner so that we can use that, and there's no return value. So this was an example of doing our own static void methods. I'm going to go ahead and save that in JDoodle to make sure that I have my work and I can submit this if I need to.